Hello and welcome to another episode of Daily Market Mastery with me, Rauchenwald, on this 31st of December. This is going to be the last episode of the year. As always, before we jump into the markets and my portfolio, let's get the usual disclaimer out of the way first. Everything that I share in this live stream / video is my personal opinion and in no way financial or professional advice of any kind. You should always do your own research, consult certified professionals, draw your own conclusions, and make your own decisions. Besides that, all the tools that I'm using during this live stream, so the broker, the charting software, the strategy I'm following, and so on, are all linked in the video description down below. And the one thing I truly believe you should do if you haven't done so, maybe as your New Year's resolution, is check out the Elliott Wave Principle. You can read this wonderful book online for free when you use the link that's in the description down below. With that said, we can jump into our portfolio. We can see that we again have a slightly break-even start into the day, in this case with a little bit of a green touch to it. Our biggest positions are obviously still our 600 GameStop shares, against which we have 6 covered calls that are going to expire on January 17th. Now, technically, those calls are in the money, which means technically our shares would get called away, but we can also see that technically we also would be able to close those calls and realize, or actually we already realized the profit when we sold the calls, but basically buy them back for less than we got. So which we are probably not going to do. If at all, we will roll them as we covered yesterday. Outside of that, surprisingly, Faraday Future Inc. has been rallying quite a bit. Doesn't change the fact that the 5 shares that we hold after a reverse split are still $50 in the red. Right now, the average price, you can see our average price after the split makes it still a huge red position, but considering that we only hold a very, very small number of shares, it's also not such a big deal, as we can see. So we're talking about a $50 pending loss. We're not going to close that out because, while I don't necessarily have any hope of something like this continuing, but the point is closing them out here. Let's clear the local data to make sure we have everything here. So closing them out here just doesn't make sense. We realize a $50 loss for no reason. So either they go bust and we have a slightly bigger loss, but with 5 shares, again, it's not the end of the world, or they actually, their scale is wrong. I don't know why it shows zeros. It should obviously show the higher rate, Here everything is correct, But so we would need to go to around here to be break even. So chances of that, we'll see. Overall, it looks like we have a green start into the day. Obviously, Faraday Futures has been one of the biggest so far. Let's see if they get stopped today again, or if it just if they maybe drop a little bit, we will see. There was also a special dividend that Faraday Futures paid, so a small one. Maybe that contributed in some way. I have no idea, to be honest, since we hold such a small position, and it was in an attempt to catch a falling knife, in quotes, actually through put options, so that we only got limited exposure. I don't care enough to follow it too detailed, Anyway, we can, with that, actually take a look at GameStop, which has been basically moving slightly sideways now. While we're on an 8-hour chart, this looks suspiciously as if it might form a triangle. I mean, it's obviously possible, as I mentioned yesterday already, that we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finished and are now getting some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for a bigger ABC, I still expect the downwards movement. And if I'm right with that, my options play will be perfect. If I'm wrong with that, we'll just have to roll for credit or accept that our shares get called away. Either way, I'm going to profit here. But from a labeling perspective, I obviously would prefer to be right. I don't think much magic is going to happen today here. Obviously, if we would break the 35 mark, then any hope that this is some kind of a flat correction falls out the window. So 35.98 is actually the threshold here that we should not exceed. Sorry, guys. Somehow didn't get enough sleep, or I don't know. Anyway, and so, but we'll keep an eye on it, and it's going to be interesting, especially till the 17th, to see how it resolves. If we go below 30 and the options expire worthless, and that solves our problem for us, or if we stay above 30 and either get the shares called away earlier, which is possible, or have to roll them. So whoever bought the options from us is still in the red, because obviously for us they're still in the green. That's one aspect to it, but more importantly, we got $480 premium per option, so the average is around $34.80. Only if we break that would whoever bought the options from us, at least at expiration, be in profit. Before that, yeah, I mean, before that, it still would make sense for them to execute them because it reduces the loss if we are above 30, but below 34.80, and they anyway would automatically execute. So unless whoever bought them from us would manually decide to say, no, please don't exercise. Anyway, moving on. So what else do we have? Immersion is probably unchanged. Yep. So as long as we stay above the low here, everything looks promising and bullish. Cause, yeah, same thing. We're waiting for a break here or here. While we are getting tempted multiple times on the upside, we also got tempted on the downside and just kind of like have to wait this out. NEO, yeah, like there, I actually believe that this is the bottom. I might be proven wrong here, but to me, I mean, it's possible that we have A, B, and C, and now we are looking at the next 5 waves down. But even then, we should have a little bit more of a recovery in one of the corrective waves. Or it's possible that we have the bottom here, and this is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, or worst case 3, 4, 5. So then we retrace this and we go further up. If it's 3, 4, we go up. If it's 5 here, then this becomes 1, 2, and we go further up. So I don't see a downside here. Novavax, my options here will probably not pay out. So we would need a strong movement, a very, very strong movement that has yes to come. It might be worth looking into if they have any kind of announcement plan, but on the other hand, yeah, like our investment there is too small to dedicate too much time. So, and I anyway already accepted after this here that I just called the end of the correction too early. I believe the bottom is here. Might also be proven wrong with that, but again, I believe the bottom is here, so we should see 1, 2, or 2 maybe like this, 3, 4, 5, but again, till the 17th of January, that will not save me. If or when we break the 1074, we will look into potential new positions. And yeah, Bitcoin is going up a little bit again. Visually, we did not hit the minimum target yet, but yeah, visually, I feel like there might be still some downside to come. It's a little bit tricky because we are relatively certain with what we labeled here as a flat correction, but then this wouldn't make much sense. Our position is also not big enough to justify sinking a lot of our time here, so we're not going to do that for now. XYO could potentially have finished the correction here. We're holding our Bitcoin position instead of jumping here, which might turn out to be maybe a mistake in the long run, or we miss out on some profit. But the pattern here is also not clean or clear enough to justify the switch. XRP, as said, should move sideways and down for a couple more weeks. Storage should go up. We'll see if that happens. Like, what's the latest? Do we get updates here? December 29, yeah, so on a 3-day chart, yeah, so that's still updating. But yeah, we should go up here. And it doesn't matter. HNT should go up. So while it temporarily might go down here, but overall up. Ethereum, we don't care. And Algorand should also, correction might have finished here. And in this case, we would then now go up from here. So yeah. And I think that's it. Like, I would love to look into different stuff. What's DJT doing? Do we get a chart? Well, yes, no, maybe. Doesn't look like we get a chart. Might be correcting right now from what I remember, so from previous prices. But long term, I still think there's more upside to come, even though the company is hugely overvalued, in my opinion. But yeah, and outside of that, I think that's it. I said the most interesting one is going to be GameStop. If we manage to get below 30, it's going to be very, very nice for us because our options will expire worthless. We just pocket the premium and we can sell new covered calls. and considering the potential premiums, if we look at GameStop, if we then go for, let's say, 45 days roughly out, yeah, that's 52, that also works, then we can see that we potentially can get as much as 3,500 depending on which strike price we pick. If we obviously go for the 30 strike price, we get more. If we also want to include the potential for some profits, then we get less. But we can basically get a 20% return on our portfolio size within less than 2 months. So that's from today. Obviously, if we wait till the 17th, then it's going to be more like this, but the premiums are similar. So then it's like, yeah, let's say $2,000. So like 10%, a little bit 12% return for then, yeah, like 40 days. So if the volatility stays the same and so on, so we'll have to we have to wait. So ideally, really, we'll see the push below 30, January 17th below 30. It frees up our shares, and we can then either on that day already roll our options for next to nothing, or wait and then the market day after that write new covered calls. And with that premium, we will then be able to potentially buy or increase our positions in Immersion and Barnes & Noble to 100 shares. So we can also write covered calls here for a little bit extra premium. And yeah, maybe get some more shares in GameStop to increase our position further. I think the next 100 shares that we are able to, or if we manage to buy another 100 shares with premium, I will also transfer them away to ComputerShare. So far we only transferred 100 shares out from what we did since May. But yeah, last but not least, for those of you that didn't check in the last couple of days, so as a quick summary, the half year since I switched to Interactive Broker has been quite generous. As we can see, we started here. The minus 12 can be mostly ignored if we look at that value. You can see that basically I had less than $1,000 in the portfolio, but every month paid for the data feeds. And that only was a brief time where I deposited a little bit, so around 2,000, and lost 100, yeah, or maybe 200 of that. So like there is a little bit of loss here that happened. But then I withdrew the rest, and then again it just is paying for the data feeds, which means like most of this here is literally outside of 1 or 2 trades playing around in Interactive Broker is just data feeds, which means technically from here we can add 12% to here, which means we actually made a, what's it then, 103, 104% return. Depending on how today ends, of course, it will change a little bit, but since the middle of May, which is probably not sustainable in the long run, but it's obviously a good start. And looking back at my trading performance over the last couple of years, since April or May 2020, it's yet another year with market-beating performance. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I'm looking forward to actually continuing market-beating performance, mostly by using Elliott Wave Theory or the Elliott Wave Principle. And in combination, in this case, with writing cash-secured puts and covered calls, so to generate additional revenue from the positions that we enter, not just from holding and waiting for them to appreciate in value, where it makes sense, of course. And yeah, so I hope you were able to take something away from today's stream or from previous streams that you watched. I want to wish each and every one of you that was part of my journey so far, or not wish, but I want to thank you all of you that have been part of my journey so far. And obviously I wish all of you a happy new year already. We'll see each other. Tomorrow is a trading holiday. Exchange is closed, so we see each other in 2 days for another episode of Daily Market Mastery. And yeah, till then, bye-bye.